What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and this is my box office prediction for Lightyear. It's the newest Pixar film that's coming out this weekend. And yeah, I've been looking forward to seeing this thing. I've been looking forward to talking about it. Hopefully you guys are ready for it. I know a lot of adults, even, people in my age demographic are definitely going to check out this film because it's Toy Story, it's Buzz Lightyear, it's a lot of fun, takes us all back to our childhoods or maybe even our early young adulthood when we were watching this with our kids. And so yeah, I'm gonna enjoy going to check out Pixar's Lightyear. Looking forward to this film. Let's go ahead and break down what we normally do on the box office predictions. We go over the pros and the cons of what's standing in this film's way to making a whole lot of money, which is obviously what movie making is all about. Not only that, but I give my predictions on what I believe that the film will do as well, going over the Friday opener, the domestic first weekend, the domestic total, and the worldwide total. We look at all four of those and we try to see how close we can get to predicting the total box office. And one of these days, I'm actually going to go back over my old numbers and kind of compare and contrast to see how close I've gotten. Sometimes pretty close, other times I've been way off. But yeah, I'm going to keep it honest and I'm going to go over those on a future show. But for right now, let's go ahead and take a look at Lightyear. By the way, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and click the like button down there. That definitely helps me, helps this video make its way around YouTube and around the internet. Also, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and click that subscribe button down there. That way you can keep up with all of the videos that I drop, box office breakdown, movie reviews, random rants, movies with the homies, putting out tons and tons of videos, and I want you guys to be able to keep up with that stuff. So hit that subscribe button. All right, let's go ahead and check it out. Long range box office forecast for Lightyear. It's also throwing in Top Gun Maverick and Jurassic World. We're not going to get to that because those are films that already came out. So let's go ahead through this. And of course, this is on Box Office Pro, where all the movie fans go. After 3 years, Pixar is set to return to the summer movie season with the much anticipated launch of Lightyear this June. Early analysis on the film, followed by forecast ranges for it and other summer blockbusters. All right, so let's look at the pros. First off, Buzz Lightyear is a generational character with popularity among both adults and today's youth, thanks to the massive success of Toy Story franchise and its 4 preceding films, the last of which opened to $120 million in June of 2019. Yeah, Toy Story is a huge popular franchise. Tons and tons of people have watched this film over the years. Quotable, some of the best moments in Pixar history are definitely from the Toy Story franchise. So yeah, this is going to be a big hit. No question at all about it. This is going to be a big hit. As the first animated tentpole of summer and the first since December's Scene 2, Lightyear is positioned to capitalize on a significant amount of pent-up demand among family and kids for their return to cinemas. Now, I see that as, yeah, true. There's going to be a lot of kids and families out there, but we'll get to that in just a minute. There's been a lot of kid movies out so far this year, and we've seen them do extraordinarily well. Specifically, The Bad Guys is starting to pick up some steam. We saw that. But then there's also a film in theaters, and maybe just me, but I consider it a family film in a lot of ways, and that's Jurassic World. I think a lot of people that are going to see this are families, and I've seen young kids when I went to see it the first time. Lots of young kids out there, lots of families out there. So I think even though technically it's a pro, it's not as big a pro because a lot of families, this pent-up demand piece that they're referring to, yeah, they've been able to get their groove on, or at least get their movie on in a lot of ways. Doubling down on that anticipation is the fact that this is Pixar's first theatrically exclusive release since Onward in March of 2020, just before the start of the pandemic, and only Disney's second outside of last year's Encanto. Yes, the last movie that came out was 2 years ago, in theaters for Disney, because they've been doing a lot of stuff to Disney Plus because of that, specifically Pixar. Early tracking is volatile due to the scarcity of comparison films during this pandemic recovery era. The pre-sales have yet to begin. That being said, early social media and trailer metrics suggest plenty of enthusiasm for this concept that's well timed for Father's Day weekend after summer break has begun for kids. All true. This is coming out at a perfect time. Lightyear, I believe, is going to be a film for young boys. It's going to be a film for boys and their dads. So this should be a lot of good fun for that particular demographics. Coming out Father's Day weekend, I anticipate a lot of fathers and a lot of sons going out to check out this movie. All right, so what about the cons? As the first major test of Disney's core family audience for animated films since last winter, Lightyear has some natural uncertainty surrounding its pre-release tracking. While it will certainly coexist with other films, opening 1 week after Jurassic World Dominion could create some natural backloading for Lightyear's summer attendance. I think that's a really good point. Jurassic World Dominion is doing great, absolutely great in the box office right now. In addition to Maverick's doing pretty good as well. So you're going to see a little bit of competition, definitely from that. It's going to be tough for Lightyear to say, okay, you know, nothing came before us, so people have plenty of money in their pockets to come see a movie. No, the week before this film came out, you had Jurassic World Dominion. So that chewed up a lot of people's money. Money is getting tighter and tighter these days. So I don't know how that's going to play out. You know, is this a film that people have been dying to see? Yeah, sort of, kind of. With a big movie like Jurassic World coming out just a week before, that's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough one. Although multiple animated films have coexisted during summer in the past, it's still worth considering that this title will face Minions: The Rise of Gru upon its release 2 weeks later. Gru is coming out in 2 weeks. That's going to be big because that particular franchise has been wildly popular. So now you got to start thinking, well, you know, it's going to need some good word of mouth. Okay, kind of like how Top Gun has been really capitalizing on that good word of mouth. But it's also only going to get 2 weeks until another big movie comes out. So you're going to need that strong word of mouth, and you're going to need to make that money in the first 2 weeks. And then hopefully once Gru comes out, it kind of stabilizes and it's still able to continue on and make some money. And speaking of word of mouth, let's go ahead and check out some of the reviews lately. There are already some reviews coming in for Lightyear. Let's go ahead and check out and see what those look like. All right, so here we go. Lightyear right now pulling an 82% after 95 reviews. Not too bad. You probably would want to see in that lower number somewhere in the upper 80s, low 90s at the very least. So an 82%, you know, can be a little bit troublesome, but let's go ahead and read through some of these reviews and just kind of see, you know, what it is that it looks like. All right, so it says here, the first guy's Splat. If Lightyear is Andy, Star Wars, what an impoverished childhood Andy had. Ooh. That don't sound too good. Lightyear isn't necessarily a bad film. My criticism isn't with the way the film looks, but rather how the characters completely ignore the history that Pixar has created with this character. All right, interesting. So he wanted a little bit more of what he's already gotten from Buzz, and you know, that kind of makes sense. Lightyear is maybe the most conventional movie Pixar has ever made, but in a catalog full of high concept, poetic, borderline art films, this film's like a charming respite. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, it seems like it might be a more straightforward film, which, you know, might work out pretty good for dads and sons. Let's see here. Lightyear, directed by Angus MacLane from a script by Jason Headley, aims to please by pandering to be good enough entertainment. As such, it succeeds in a manner more in line with second-tier Disney animation rather than top-shelf Pixar. Okay. The premise is that Lightyear inspired a young kid's imagination with dreams of space rangers, evil emperors, and far-off planets more than a quarter century ago. It can do it again. Okay. Lightyear is not only an entertaining film that both children and adults will enjoy, but it's interesting to learn the beloved character's backstory. Just read Splat. Lightyear feels like that horrible moment when you broke a much-loved toy. Ooh. I don't know if it's gonna have anything to do with it, the fact that Tim Allen isn't the voice of Buzz Lightyear. It's Chris Pratt. No, wait, Chris Evans. Chris Evans is doing the voice of Lightyear. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Maybe people wanted to hear, like, you know, Tim Allen's voice. Let's see here. Despite its messy plot and underwhelming villain, the strong voice performances and stunning visuals, and of course, Socks the Cat, make Lightyear a solid space adventure. All right. A dead-end wrong turn in the usually boundless Pixar universe. Yikes. That don't sound great. Its plot is so hopelessly, desperately Christopher Nolan style meta that it caves in on itself. Whew, all right. Let's see, what else we got? This is also one of Pixar's least visually artistic efforts. After the studio's daring style choices with Luca, Soul, and Turning Red, Lightyear feels like a creative leap backwards. All right. So, I mean, you know, mostly good reviews, you know, at least positive reviews. Lightyear is a sci-fi for kids while also taking us on an intergalactic journey through life and our choices, teaching us that we don't have to do it alone. Okay. To my somewhat skeptical surprise, this was an enjoyable space adventure, as distracting as all the Toy Story connections are. The core characters and the core story and characters are fun, and the animation is terrific. All right. Cool. It's easy to see the missed storytelling opportunities in what areas Lightyear could have leaned into, but this is also a clever prequel idea that pleasantly pushes against cheap fan service and boasts charming characters. All right. So it seems like it's like, you know, it's not so much a mixed bag, but, you know, people are kind of like disappointed. It sounds like some of these reviewers came in with some expectations, which is expected. You know, it's a Toy Story, you know, sequel or prequel, so to speak. So it's, you know, you already have some knowledge of who this character is. So, yeah, it seems like they've, you know, kind of had some expectations. But most people seem to say, yeah, you know, it's pretty good, you know. It's not as iconic as Toy Story, but never wanted to be Toy Story. It's a simple story, but it gets enough inspiration from classic sci-fi to give Buzz Lightyear a great adventure in which he gets to shine. Also socks. Okay. Yeah, you know, it's like, I think there's an impressive as it looks. It's emotionally lacking, humorless, and kind of dull. Like I said, I think some folks came in there with a little bit of a, you know, expectation, which is fine. But nevertheless, it seems like mostly good reviews. You see mostly red tomatoes, you know, a couple of splats here and there, but mostly these critics seem to like it. You know, hey, this is a full page of tomatoes, you know, so yeah, I think that this thing is going to be all right, at least in terms of word of mouth. So let's go ahead and take a look at my numbers. This is what I think the film is going to do and what it has up against it. All right, so here we go with the make it or break it numbers for Lightyear. A budget of 200 million. You already know what that means. It needs to do 500 million to break even. That's 2.5 times the budget. So what's standing in its way? We already discussed it last week. There was old Jurassic World Dominion that dropped. That did amazing numbers. I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to coming back to see that for a second weekend. But then we also have coming up in 2 weeks, Minions: The Rise of Gru. So that's going to be huge competition, because that little yellow guy right there, he always puts up big numbers in the theaters, always. So yeah, Lightyear coming out 2 weeks ahead. It's gonna have to get its money real quick, okay? It's gonna have to jump in there. All right, what do I got here? Got the money. Get. Put you in your pockets, okay? All right, hey, here comes Gru. And then once Gru gets, I think Gru is just gonna take the entire theater over by storm, especially for the young kids. And then, of course, you're talking about a week after that is going to be Thor, but we didn't put Thor: Love and Thunder here. But Thor: Love and Thunder, that's going to be more competition in the box office. So lots and lots and lots of competition for Lightyear. What do I think it's going to do? Here's what I think it's going to do. All right, so my comparison film for Lightyear was a film that came out this year, Sonic 2, okay? So it's close enough to what I think it'll have for its multiplier, okay? Because I thought Sonic had a pretty good showing in the box office based on when it came out and based on the competition that it had around it. And I think with all the competition that Lightyear is going to have, it's going to be kind of a similar scenario. So it's a 2.6 multiplier for Sonic. I think that's about the same that Lightyear is going to get. So let's go ahead and check it out. Sonic did 26 million Friday night. Opening weekend was 72 million. A domestic total of 190 million. So far, it's still pulling in some money. And then a worldwide total of $397 million. So what does Lightyear look like? Okay, I think it's going to have a $45 million Friday night. It's going to open with $114 million first weekend, a domestic total of 300 million, and then a worldwide total of 760 million. Now, don't get me wrong. This film can absolutely blast off into the stratosphere, no pun intended, you know, depending upon, again, overall word of mouth. What are the people saying? What are the fans saying? You know, not just the critics, but what are the actual viewers saying about this film? Because if this thing really gets going and it's a fun movie and fans and families like it, I could see people going to this thing 3, 4, 5 times all summer long, just making it their summer film. But nevertheless, that's where it's at at right now, that's what I think it's going to do. Folks, what do you think about Lightyear? Go ahead, drop down in the comments, give me your thoughts, your opinions, and your suggestions on that. All right, that'll do it for the box office prediction. We'll see what happens this weekend. Thanks for watching. See you next time.